Okay, what I wanted to emphasize is I believe that the Freeholder Board has a serious shortcoming when it comes to trying to present themselves as representing a diverse population in New Jersey. The previous meeting, when my wife and I asked that I was allowed to use a short video as a communication device because I have a disability with cognitive reasoning and complex information, I asked them to allow me to use this video as a communication device, and they denied me. So that's a denial on two levels. One, federal law, Americans with Disabilities Act, says that a disabled person can use something as a communication device as long as it doesn't cause a financial hardship for the entity. All I was asking them to do is click on something, which is on Tina's website, the County Watcher site. And I want to thank Tina and John and all of Tina's people for allowing us, my wife and I, to have the opportunity to express our opinion as disabled people. There's 54 million disabled in America. We're not going away. We're getting larger and larger every day. And the freeholder boards have to wake up. They can't control freedom of speech. They're not that powerful. And this issue of abusive practices and guardianship is not going away either. It's becoming much more of a national focus on all the abuse and healthcare fraud. The costs are astronomical. It's a billion-dollar problem that's destroying people's lives now. So I wanted to thank Tina publicly, which I didn't have the opportunity to do in the meeting, to allow my wife and I to show the video. And that's all I had to say, really. And also to my wife, I think she was very much spot on, as the British say, tonight. She was spot on with her comments, and I appreciate that.
So my name is Matthew Taylor from Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. I just wanted to clarify an important point. In the previous meeting, when I had asked if a video that was produced that highlights and summarizes the pertinent issues regarding abusive practices and guardianship proceedings that are occurring throughout America, not just in Union County, but it's a national crisis. When I was making that request, I was well within my legal rights as a disabled person because that video actually is a communications device. And the federal law states that I have that right to ask for a request. And I know you weren't denying me the right to free speech, but I was trying to be honest with you. When I'm trying to synthesize complex information, I have problems with sequencing information. And at this time, I would like my wife to, I yield my time to my wife so she can continue with my thought process here. Thank you.
Mary Ellen Taylor, creating accommodations for my husband. I think it's deplorable that you will not show a video. We put that video up on County Watchers and 828 people have already watched it. I'm sure the County of Union would love to watch it. This is really teaching the elderly and the disabled what is coming about in our courts and how the counties and the courts are, the money's interchanging. I even think it's fascinating with these tickets. It's to make money, it's not to stop people. You guys are talking about that this is a financial institution. And that's what's happening with the disabled. Because as I was reading just the other day, because I read a lot and I send it to Washington, I want people to know what's going on here. And I want people to be able not to say that they didn't know what was going on. In our legislation, they had bills that, special needs trust. I can't believe they were writing this, but they were in 2000. And we really don't want to give them to the disabled unless we deem them incapacitated. I was like, bingo. That money is supposed to, if they have that money is then supposed to go back to the state when that person dies. But oh no, we're letting our attorneys and courts say, nobody said that we can't go in and raid all their money and make them poverty-stricken with 9 months or 10 months and take all their dignity away and throw them in the street. That's what we've created. We've created a monster. It is deplorable that our legislators were part of this. And I was like, wow. So I sent it out to the country. Does anybody else have this on their, what their legislators actually put? I was like, is that why when gentlemen like my husband walk into the courts, we weren't asking for any special needs or anything, but I already know the state gives back money, the state courts give back to the county fees in contested matters. Great. And then, why not? I thought it was fascinating the other day, my husband and I went to the Bridgewater Mall. The FBI has big signs out about healthcare fraud. How are people under guardianship supposed to be telling people, well, we got someone else to report in this healthcare fraud, because the judges are then saying that they're okay for Medicaid and Medicare, and there's that pool of money, and you know who's taking it? The attorneys and the courts and the court fees. That's fraud. That is blatant healthcare fraud, because if those people had money, they should be paying for their health care. But oh no, this is a great way to clean everybody out. It is deplorable, but I thought it was fascinating. The FBI's got these, they're piloting it in New Jersey. They're piloting. Well, Mr. Ward, I hope you're listening. Go look in our courts. How can attorneys justify running $600, $900, $1 million worth of legal bills for someone to go under guardianship? Or, better yet, if they haven't cleaned them out by the time they get them under guardianship, let's clean them out in the next 2 years and not a dime goes back to the state to reimburse the Medicaid. Let's be honest what's going on here. Attorneys have made laws for attorneys. These aren't laws. We are not a free country anymore when this is going on. But I was reading this and I sent it out to everybody and I sent it to Washington. I said, I told you, tell Senator Harkins to have a really good hearing on this one. Get the Bar Association there. Get all our legislators in that room and say, how did you do this? You are committing the healthcare fraud. Because then when people get put under guardianship, all of a sudden what happens is they become medical experiments. We're putting them on Risperdal and Zyprexa and all kinds of antidepressants. And I guess you don't care because it's not your mother or your father. But it could be you one day. And don't think it can't, because judges have been done this. There's a judge in Brooklyn that he was put under guardianship. It is deplorable, but this is healthcare fraud. Now, I represented my husband's time, and now I'll represent mine. Well, we can't show the videos, and you know the reason you don't want to show the videos? I know the person whose mother is in one of those videos. Imagine showing your mother's grave. She was ripped from your family. You weren't allowed to see her. They stole all her money, and you weren't allowed to protect your own family member. Why the attorneys and the professional fiduciaries and the nonprofits pilfered through money that didn't belong to them. And any money that was there was supposed to go back to the state, because that's what special needs trusts are meant for. They're gone. They get them gone in like 9 months. They're saying, hey, nobody said that we couldn't do this. So we're going to do it, because after all, the state's going to take care of them and the federal government's going to take care of them. But the problem is, President Obama and everybody else is saying, some of the people that are going to be hurt the most are the seniors and the disabled. The programs are going away. So now that they've pilfered through all their money, are we going to go back to all those attorneys and say, give it back, that person's still alive. Give it back even if it's in your yacht. Give it back if it's in your home. Give it back if it's in your 3 BMWs. Give it back. It's fraud. That is deplorable. And everyone knows about it. And the other thing that I think is deplorable is you guys have all met my husband. He doesn't meet the guidelines for guardianship. You, as the county and the county attorney, should be saying that needs to be vacated immediately. That is a violation against that person's rights, and I want to know how that ever went on. This is healthcare fraud, beyond a doubt. And like I said, Mr. Ward, if you're listening, come look in Union County and every county in New Jersey. FBI, just start looking at and pulling the probate files across this country, and you will probably find billions and billions of dollars that you can ask these people to return. I don't know how attorneys sleep and judges sleep and counties sleep knowing that they're taking money that does not belong to them. If anyone it belongs to after that person passes away, the state has first dibs to get the money back for what they spent on their medical care. That should be stopped immediately. An attorney doesn't get any more than $500 to $1,000 for a guardianship. Period. Period. Not $100,000, $200, $300. And boy, then they start bringing in all their partners and friends, and like they got 4 or 5 attorneys working on one little guardianship. It is healthcare fraud, because what those special needs trusts were meant for was, we don't want to impoverish that person. We want them, we will pay for the health care, the money they have, if it doesn't run out by the time they've died. We don't want to kick them out of their homes. But the attorneys have no trouble throwing them in nursing homes where they don't want to live. They don't want to live. No, they've got houses down the shore. They've got houses in Florida. They've got houses everywhere, because when you're making it a multi-million-dollar racket on the disabled, that is fraud. And the county just sits and says, so what? It's not me. It's not me. We say we're saving the taxpayers money. We're not saving the taxpayers anything. The disabled are being so taxed through the courts that if they have $500,000 and their neighbor that maybe is angry at them calls Adult Protective Services on them, and they drain through every penny in like 6 months, there is no other law in this country that says when somebody goes into court, they have to pay both sides. They have to pay for everybody's fees. Let's just clean them out. So there is so much conflict of interest here that it's incredible. And that's why you guys don't want the county to be educated. Maybe, you know, how many people there are there in the county? You don't want them up on the screens because you don't want the disabled and elderly to start ringing your phone saying, what is going on? You can clean me out and you can prevent my family from coming and seeing me in a nursing home. Those people, if they go into Reynolds and Reynolds wants to do something with them, they can say, that person's harming them. They can tell that professional guardian not to let anybody see them. That person dies thinking that their family's abandoned them. Are we dogs? I mean, what has happened to society? But boy, I can't wait till the FBI starts coming in, because it's healthcare fraud.
A comment about the courthouse. I think it's very bizarre that they're spending so much money, and at the end I caught that it was for family court and I guess probate court and chancery, and they're the 3 courts that are exploiting children, families, the disabled, and the elderly by taking all their money. And I find that highly offensive that the county is paying so much money for them then to, I guess how they figure they're going to recoup it is by the fees that the state courts are going to put back to them. I made a statement tonight. I'm going to keep it short. John will just link to that. But I think the elderly, the disabled, and people in divorces and family court should be, call Judge Cassidy and call Judge Grant and say, this is abominable. And Chris Christie and the county freeholders, how are they paying to exploit the most vulnerable? Thank you.